in our services. In taking resources from the earth, consider a few things. One, the rate at which we are taking it, can the earth regenerate or recreate or refill itself? If the earth cannot regenerate, recreate, or refill itself, it means that we're going to be continuously living a vacuum as we are taking. The implication is that certain future generations will not have access to the same resources and materials that we took out of the earth, because we have consumed them at a rate faster than the earth can replenish. All right? So naturally, the earth is supposed to be able to replenish as we remove. Now, let's look at the other side of it. When we throw things into the earth, what does the earth try to do? It tries to consume them. It tries to decompose them. It tries to recycle them through decay and other processes so that they can become useful in its process of recreating and regenerating new resources and materials for us to use. But what do we have? We are dumping waste into the earth that takes longer and longer for the earth to break down. I saw a little outline of how long it takes for different items to break down. A piece of wood, 3 years, 4 years, a brick or block, 1 year, 2 years, a piece of rubber, from rubber tree, 3 years, 4 years. They had all those kind of numbers. And then I became a bit shocked. I thought I was actually shocked to see there are some materials that we actually throw into the waste heaps, into refuse dumps that take up to 200 years to decompose. In that time, what happens? It clogs the earth. It becomes a complete nuisance. It cannot be decomposed. It cannot be used. It's obstructing nature from doing its normal process. So what are we trying to learn as facility managers? One, we are responsible for almost 40% of the earth resources and materials. It goes into the built environment. We must do that extraction responsibly. If we slow down the rate at which we consume resources and materials, the earth may be able to recover a little bit, and the rate of destroying the earth will be reduced. That's one. So slowing down, using less, and reducing the amount we take that we waste. One key area for consideration is energy. So we're going to be spending time on energy. If you have all the money in the world, and because you want to have your wedding in a beautiful garden, you decide to put 200 standalone 10-ton air conditioners in the garden, people will feel comfortable, won't they? At least the thing will be trying to cool people in that garden. You have 200 of you, each of you have a full 10-ton air conditioner standing beside you. You will feel cool, isn't it? Because it will be blowing and touching you before it tries to cool the entire community. But what are you doing at that time? You are wasting so much resources and energy, because there's no chance that air conditioner will ever get to saturation and take a rest. It will never get to 90 degrees or 20 degrees that you set it to. So you can rest the compressor. And then after a while, pick up. You know why? Because the entire environment is hot. And as it's blowing out, it's getting mixed with warm air, isn't it? Now, the amount of money you spend cooling that garden, for example, is very high compared to how much utility you are getting from that cooling effect or from that cooling effort. That in itself, that gap is a waste. I use that as an extreme example, but it is similar to having your windows cracked and the AC is trying to cool the room. Remember some of those houses where you have louvers, for example, and one louver is falling off. and you didn't care to replace the one missing louver blade, right? But the AC is working in the house. Or the main door is supposed to be this automatic open and close, but it has broken. So because it has broken, you leave it permanently open, while you're blasting your AC. Those are kind of examples of how much waste we as FMs can bring in the system that not only affect the bottom line of the organization we serve, but also has a negative impact on the earth. So use less, use resources responsibly, give waste, put out waste responsibly, and those are some of the key competencies of a facility manager. We talk about sustainability because we also realize that it adds value to the organization. The moment you start thinking sustainability, you start becoming creative, start thinking of innovative ways of doing things to cut out waste and doing things to make your processes more streamlined. And that's where it adds value to you as an individual in the quality of work that you deliver as a facility manager. So today we're going to look at the definition. Ability to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. I just gave you that little preamble when I was giving my introduction. If you can meet today's needs for resources and materials and where to dump your waste, you want to make sure that future generations can also have that access to get materials and resources and also have where to dump their waste. That's what it means. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. The things you have today on the earth are things that you are under obligation to make available to the real owners, who are what? Those who are going to come in the future. That is sustainability for you. If you think about sustainability, you will not be thinking about, oh, well, I'll be dead in 100 years. So even if they are telling me that the world is going to burn down after 100 years, I won't care. I will just be doing what I'm doing now because I don't really care what happens in 100. That is not a sustainable way of thinking. If you think of the future generations as the owners of the resources we are consuming, you will do things with more sustainable thinking. Okay? So think about economic considerations. Do you waste money? Are the things you invest on profitable for your businesses? Have you ever done things that when you look back at it, you'll be asking yourself, I wish I didn't do this. This was a real waste of money. I didn't negotiate well, or I didn't get the right equipment, or I didn't put the right processes in place. Much of what I was looking for, I didn't achieve because it went down south or went the wrong direction. Think about the impact on the environment. Impact on the environment. Oh, well, you have some refuse. You're supposed to take that refuse and go and properly dispose of it. But on the second thought, just light match stick and then let's burn it, right? You're burning to bring out smoke and soot to your neighbors. And you're also standing the risk of burning the entire landscape of vegetation around that neighborhood. Think about the impact of your decision on the people. How healthy is your environment? If people are not healthy, will they be productive? If they are not healthy, will they be productive? They can't be productive. But the things we do that make people unhealthy are difficult to pin down unless you have a sustainability mindset. I've seen people that will come into a space that is smelling. And what comes to their mind? Air freshener. Isn't it? They will come in there and pump air freshener into that space. If you come into a space that was smelling foul, and then air freshener was now pumped into that space, how many smells are you now having to deal with? Did the air freshener remove the bad smell? It didn't. It just mixed with it. Okay? Exactly. So if you say the foul air was bad, is the air freshener good for your lungs? Is it? Let's think about it. So make your spaces healthy as part of sustainability consideration. Okay? Okay, to make sure sustainability is effective or to put proper sustainability in place, you need to start thinking and planning with that mindset. And it starts with trying to understand what your people and your organization wants to achieve. Because the more you are focused at what we are trying to achieve as a target or as a goal, the more sustainable you will be. Okay? So we talk about optimizing economic, environmental, and social benefits, called a balancing act of sustainability. That's definition again from the Brundtland Commission. This is the United Nations definition. Development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Sustainability. IFMA has categorized sustainability into 8 major categories. This is how, as facility managers, sustainability now begins to affect us. Okay? This is how it begins to affect us. 8, we have energy, water, materials and resources, workplace management, indoor environment quality, quality of services, waste, and then site impact. And we're going to take them one after the other. I want to show you in a way how they all relate. How they all relate. In facility management, we use certain inputs. We produce certain processes as part of our activities. And when we are done, we leave behind certain outputs. Are we together? By way of input, we're looking at energy, water, materials, and resources, 3 out of the 8 categories. And then by way of processes, we are talking about workplace management, indoor environmental quality, quality of service, and in terms of output, which is what goes back to the environment. You know, I told you, we use up this, we enjoy this, and then we give out this to who? Back to the environment, back to the world, or to Mother Earth. Waste and site impact. So let's take them one after the other. Is there anything that we can do that will not require energy? There's really nothing. There's really nothing that won't require energy in one form or the other, because energy is the force that moves everything. So as facility managers, our use of energy, we can think of every of our activities and say, oh, we need energy. For cooling, we need energy. For transportation, we need energy. For, for manufacturing or making anything, we need just on and on and on. We need energy for all, right? But what should be our primary concern? Our primary concern should be the source of the energy. Why should the source be a concern for us as FMs? The source of energy, why should it be a concern for us?
How long we are going to have the power, and how sure are we going to be able to know that this thing is still established?
Very good, very good. Every source has different characteristics. Some sources of energy cannot replenish themselves at all or quickly enough. Whereas there are some sources of energy that as you take from it, it's as if it's not touched. Are we together? So the FM's focus on energy is to begin to consider, how do we begin to check the different sources of energy around us so that we can tap into the one that has the least impact on the environment, the least impact. So if we were to look at all the energy sources, common energy sources, most of us depend heavily on diesel, don't we? For those of us who are lucky enough to have power from the public grid, up to what percentage can we enjoy? Can we say we do up to 6% nowadays from the public grid? Yes, some do up to 60%. Some may not do up to that much, right? Now, the percentage that you depend on diesel for is 100% fossil. Fossil fuels are those fuels we get from the earth, coal, crude oil, and those ones that are not easily replenished, right? Now, for those we get from the grid, we might be lucky because we have at least 2 functioning dams in Nigeria, hydroelectric power dams, that actually get their energy from turning turbines on falling water, which is 100% renewable. We are not burning the water, are we? We're not consuming the water. The water is just flowing on its path. We only channel it in such a way that the force that is generated from gravity as it flows on its path can be used to turn the turbines. Think about days when in the country we had power around the clock, and all that power was coming from hydro. That means we were 100% sustainable in energy at some point. Now the grid is also divided into 2. We have the thermal plant, which uses a byproduct from crude oil, which is natural gas, right? That's a fossil fuel. We say the natural gas is a bit cleaner because every time you consume energy, consider it in 2 ways. One is the input, which is the fuel from crude, right? Taken from the earth, creating a hollow. The other is the output from burning the fuel. When you burn fuel, what happens? CO2 and greenhouse gases are emitted, which depletes the ozone layer and increase global warming, right? So we can say the natural gas emits less of greenhouse gases, but is still a fossil fuel. Okay, so let's begin to think about how we use our energy. If we're moving away from diesel in self-generation beyond the grid, what else do we have as options? Yes. Fantastic. Now, mind you, solar is a very, very excellent renewable source of energy because it comes from the sun, which cannot be depleted. At least that's how much science knows right now. You tap from the sun 100% continuously, it comes back again. Doesn't have depletion factors, all right? So you can just keep tapping that. But we said sustainability was requiring you to operate profitably. So that balancing act now requires you to don't burn all of your resources just for sustainability's sake and become a loss-making business. And that's the main reason why you see we still depend on a little diesel here, a little natural gas there, some mix of solar. You know, you just keep monitoring those different sources so that your overall impacts on the environment can be reduced, balanced against the fact that you want to make profit as a business and you want to have the least impact on people and the environment. Are we together on this? So that wind, exactly. There are wind turbines that you can put up, and then the wind moves, and that wind is always cyclical. It keeps coming back again and again. Of course, until somebody builds a tower beside you. If a high-rise comes beside you, another high-rise comes on the other side, the wind turbine shuts down. Isn't it? Yeah. So you now have to make an arrangement with the owner of the new high-rise and say, you know what, I will not frown at your development if you allow me transfer my turbine to the top of your building. That way I can still get access to the wind. Governments are now beginning to protect this for people across the world. Someone can just wake up and blind the sun from you again. You can protest, and there are laws that protect you. If I was in a building and I was having sun and wind and I was having a good time and being sustainable, and someone comes and builds a massive tower all around me or several towers around me, I have the right to say I don't want this, and there are laws that protect you so that you can still have access to your natural resources. Well, none of us need to raise to that height. I may not have the foundation to carry more floors, but at least I can afford. They can afford to take my mast, my photovoltaic cells, and take it up their tower. Just put it back to see the sun, or put the windmill up on their own towers to get access to the wind.
So, for some of the so I have a piece of land and I want to we had to build.
Yes.
So because somebody decided he has a bungalow, so I don't have the right to build kind of house that I feel I like because I might be like looking at it that this guy might not be protected because my building.
Oh yes, yes. You have to be considerate. Now that's why the government even does some things. The government does some things. If you go to the planning authorities, you will find there's a term for it. How high you can go in certain neighborhoods. Every neighborhood has how high you can. There are some neighborhoods you are not allowed to build a bungalow on. You don't have the choice. Say, oh, well, I'm in the Atlantic, or I'm in via certain streets, commercial places. Say, okay, my plots, I want you to build a small 3-bedroom bungalow. They will not allow you. Sorry, it's your land, we know. But the kind of buildings that can be built here cannot be less than 10 floors.
So if that person doesn't have the...
No, but that's the ordinance. That's what the law does. Because what do we need laws for? Laws actually provide equity so that our relationship to each other can be defined, protected by law. I can just go ahead, build my small bungalow and start making trouble with every of the high-rise around there and say you can't build, thereby destroying the business ecosystem that the government is trying to develop for the central business district, for example. So there's protection. So if you have a certain 2 stories or 1 story, and the next man decides to build a bungalow on that place, if the law allows it, that means the provision is already there. It can be accommodated, especially with the amount of setbacks that each person must have. There will have been calculations to show that yes, this is possible. Otherwise, no, sorry. And this applies to every city across the world. In Lagos right now, you'll be shocked to know there are layouts for every area. Every area. You can't just go and buy land and say, finally, I bought my Lagos land. Time to build. No, they do. You can build illegally. You can build illegally, but the day the law comes for you.
This Mara was they say after their fence, then you think close to the 28 hours. There's 6 meters before the main building.
Yes.
So it really has a part that they have only 2 meters space.
To the gates,
so
to the fence.
Always you are paying them almost every time.
As it's not bribes. Those are bribes to circumvent the law. When the chips are down, that building will still come down.
Yes.
It will still come down.
If somebody else comes to take the...
Oh yes, if a new DG or somebody comes on that enforcement agency tomorrow, it will bring that building down. Okay, so that's the reason. Sustainability and energy and access to the elements is just one of the considerations. There are so many more considerations that bring such regulations.
So Greg said, what of using of coal?
Coal, yes, coal is not a renewable source. It's a fossil, because every time you dig coal from the earth, you are creating a vacuum that the earth cannot refill in thousands of years. So basically, coal is same as crude oil in every ramification. It's fossil. Yes, yes.
Profit and also.
Yes.
So is it that solar?
It's expensive.
It's expensive in maintenance or?
Okay, now this is where solar comes. Solar cells used to be very expensive, but the prices have been dropping. Right? People can now have solar panels cover their entire roof and they harness as much energy as possible. But that energy is only available when the sun is shining. If you want to use that energy when the sun is dim or it's night, what do? You need to store that power. That is a weak link in solar energy right now. Batteries are expensive. How many of us have bought batteries lately? 200 AH batteries. They are still more than 100,000 naira.
The batteries are much appreciated.
Oh yes, 2-3 years they are out. The worst case scenario, 5 years for lithium batteries or those maintenance-free batteries, zinc ion batteries.
It's more advisable for industry, like, because they say large industries are doing solar as well, and they're using solar to power them.
Okay, no. So for those industries going to solar, there are storage systems. There are advanced storage systems now that uses drums of ion liquids that flow from one part of it to another and creates ion exchange, electrons, and create electricity through that process. They are quite expensive. Quite expensive. We have, for example, CellCube. Max-Migold represents CellCube here, but just a single battery that's is the size of a 40-foot container can be about 17 million. But that battery can give you 200 kilowatts consistently for 10 hours. Yes, one battery that can power 5 of these buildings that we are in.
Your land mass for this thing should be.
It's just one 40-foot container.
For you to have that, probably in the industry, you must have more than one.
No, I'm talking of one. I have 5 of this type of buildings. HRDC building, 5 in a compound. Maybe let's take a school, Chrisland School, Corona School, for example, right? Their total consumption for about 40-50 classrooms should be about that, plus offices and other spaces, should be about that 200 kilowatts. So behind, you just drop one of those 40-foot containers. The container itself is the battery with pumps moving fluids around to store power as they are being charged. And you may have to have plenty of solar panels. Otherwise, you now need to use a generator again to support the backing, charging. There are solutions, but they are expensive. Some businesses are matured enough to be able to afford those storage systems. But for some, they just operate only the daytime. Sure, it's daytime that sun shines, no wahala. Put the panels there and get power during the day. When the sun goes, we shut down till tomorrow again when the sun comes. After the sun will come up every day. And on rainy days, when the sun is dim for most of the day, we won't have enough power to run all our system. But the good thing about such days again is that it's colder, so we may not need air conditioning. So energy requirement may also drop. So those are the kind of things that FMs should be coming up with. If you're managing a school, for example, okay, you could look for smaller air conditioners, modular air conditioners that are energy efficient, that very little current, the compressor can work, isn't it? You set that as your procurement requirement, just to reduce the amount of energy you need per unit of comfort you are trying to give your people. You see, water, for us, we are a bit nonchalant about water because we feel water is free. The amount of water available in Africa is like the most watered continent in the world. Enough streams, fresh rainforests, and all of that. But the water in Africa is reducing very fast. You see, people in South Africa, up until 2018, did not realize they were getting to what they got into. Some cities in South Africa they had to make laws to prevent you from filling your pool. In fact, people will, on a riot, come and break your gate down if they see water inside swimming pool when people are not seeing water to drink? So if you have too much money, fill your pool. Let's see how you will survive it. Because guys are taking jerry cans to go and get water for their whole family. And the law will say, this is the water you can buy, but you cannot buy more than 50 liters for your family per day. And you can't buy tomorrow's own. Tomorrow you come back again and buy 50 liters so that everyone else can get a little water to use. But the rest of us that have access to water are running the water as if it's no man's business. Do you know that if your pipe is broken and leaks for 5 minutes, it's equivalent to running a 60-watt bulb for 14 hours?
What size of pipe? Any pipe?
Your normal supply pipe, 1.5 inches supply pipes.
And probably there's a meter that
The volume of water that would have been lost in 5 minutes of a broken 1.5 inch pipe is equivalent to putting on a bulb for 14 hours. The research has been done. While you may want to kill somebody for putting a bulb on, you may ignore that one and say, don't worry, I've seen where it's leaking, and we'll fix it tomorrow.
and probably the
Okay?
because you pay for
Exactly. So those who have already imbibed sustainability have already started metering the water. I've already started calculating how much it really costs to produce water. Many of us don't calculate how much it costs to produce water. Even if you meter the pump that's going to pump the borehole out, and then the pump that's going to move it into the tank, and then it's going to maybe a booster pump that distributes it to all the taps. Even if you meter them to get the kilowatt hours consumed, many of us still don't translate that to how much per liter of production of water. Because you meet the borehole is already been drilled, so it looks like the water is on the ground. So therefore, do you actually know that you are supposed to pay royalties to the government for the borehole you drill? Yes. We agree. We agree. The government produces water, which they should sell to you.
They are not doing that.
Now,
To
to create your own. Yes, the reason is that the water you are drilling into is a commonwealth. It's not yours. It's a commonwealth. If you can afford to drill, and I cannot afford to drill, I will die of thirst and you'll be drinking my water. Ah. Are you getting what I'm saying? So the bottom line here is that we should not undermine the value of water in sustainability. Many people will take water, they will treat it using expensive chemicals and efforts, and use it to wash the cars and water the garden. I don't understand this. Why do we do that? Why? It doesn't add up. It's just nonchalance. It's just lack of sustainability thinking. Because all of that effort you have used to treat the water before you flush it into your poo-poo, for me, is what? Waste. It's waste. Many people will take that water from their septic tank and then they will pipe it straight into the drainage using a pump.
From septic tank.
Yes, yes. They'll take that top that is usually light in the night. Oh, it happens in the day. It's against the law. It's against the law. Materials and resources. The built environment and all the materials we use within it. The reason we need to watch for materials and resources are many. For example, every time you over-order or over-acquire materials, what happens? They'll go into waste, isn't it? Have you bought some things? Maybe you buy a shirt or a pair of shoes, and it comes in the packaging is to impress. You open and open and open and open, and you pick the thing you need out of it. What happens to all the rest?
I'm really keep it at home.
If you have space to keep it. Those of us who like to use those boxes to decorate our home, so that there was a time I bought this type of, you can keep it until your house turns to junkyard. So why not, when you are doing bulk purchases, for example, order and say, you know what, don't bring packaging to us. Use packaging to package for other people. Bring our own in lighter packages or easy handles. Those are considerations you can have for materials and use. And then what about workplace management? Work processes that have environmental impact. All supervisors from across the country must be coming to Lagos for weekly operations meeting. Are there better ways to hold those meetings nowadays? Exactly. Zoom, small money. Everybody will log into the meeting. We all laugh with each other. We all talk and exchange comments as if we are face to face with each other. Or even just setting up some activities where people will have to walk long distances to get things done, wasting time and effort under workplace management. What about indoor environment quality? This is what affects the health of people. When we talk health and safety, ergonomy is people's comfort. If I sit and I start having backache, you might have saved money by not replacing my chair or buying me proper chair, isn't it? But has the company earned that saving? Can be packaged for dog food or used as manure to fertilize our plants and stuff. So think about those. How do we manage our waste? You know, waste generation, the volume of waste you generate is not an indication of how rich you are. I used to have this, okay, so my dad grew up in a home where his father would normally walk around when the children are eating. If the plate is empty at the time he walks there, he will say they should give that child more food. It means that it's because you are not full that you finish the food on your plate. With the power of hindsight now, I think about that and I'm asking myself, so that means everybody must have leftover, which will be thrown away before my granddad will agree that you are okay. There are some homes, they are used to dumping, they cook for 20 people, and there are only 3 in the house. And they'll say things like, we don't eat the food of yesterday. And yet, when they want to make food for 3 or 4, they will make it as if they are having what? 20 people. What do you have in that environment? Continuous cycle of what? Of waste. If you look well into families that do that, you realize that they have not arrived. Those guys that are way there, the Bill Gates and the Dangotes of this world, you'll be shocked that those are the ones that will take just exactly what they want and prepare just exactly what they want instead of having enough to throw into the bin. A lavish bin. And then for us as FMs, what do we do with the waste? Do you know that there's so much money inside waste? Huge. Do you know what some people are doing? Some of this waste truck labor when they are not being paid more than 20,000 a month. Ooh, those guys. It's your business, really. They make a lot of money. A lot of money. Just because people look at things as is waste, throw it away. But if we can all begin to have the mindset of looking again at the things we are not using for this purpose and asking ourselves, first, what else can I do with this? Then what can I get out of the thing that I'm not using anymore? What new materials can I get from it? Which of it can I recycle and repurpose for something else? In the UK, when I was in the UK, I don't think I furnished my house at any time with money. We have what we call free cycle, now called Frigo. You just register, and people just take a picture of their TV and put it there. Who wants this TV? I'm changing my TV. They'll take a picture of their mattress. Who wants this mattress? I'm changing my mattress. So in Frigo, that's how I will log on. Anything as I'm taking a better one, I'm also taking a picture of the one I have and posting it there again. I say, who wants this mattress? I've gotten a better one.
Is it free?
It's free. It's free. Just come to my house and say, oh, you're a Frigo member. Is it the mattress you came for? Yes. Oh, yeah. No, it's free. It's a free service. It's a free service. So I got free TV. You can get blenders. You can get mattresses. You can get full sofas, furniture, all functioning. Now, what do you think is driving that willingness to give for free? To throw it away will cost you.
That's the question I want to ask.
Come and throw it away now. They will wait and tell you your price for throwing it away. So if you like, go and bring a big orthopedic mattress, 7x7, and say you want to throw it away. By the time they tell you the price of throwing it away, you carry it back into your house.
So they have to charge someone for it.
Oh, yes, yes.
And this madam wants to throw away computer that she said she wants to get money from it.
Yes.
That they are charging her.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's sustainability. They've looked at it and said, look, it's not sustainable to allow people to just keep dumping. See, there are some people that want to get money like this. They want to change everything in their house, like now. The next thing, they just ship everything out, put in the bin, because it doesn't cost them anything to throw it away. If you bring those kind of laws in, now even Nigerians will become sustainable overnight. If you put it on Frigo, after a few days, nobody has taken it. You're allowed to leave it outside your house for a day or two. You can be driving on the road, you see a nice bicycle, a bike, or anything just left outside. Open your boot, carry it if you need it.
Nigeria.
If you need it, just carry it. Because the person who put it out there is looking for who will help him carry it. Just carry. I don't remember buying bicycles for my children, for my son when we were there. There's always enough bicycles. Because almost every season, the kids want a different color of bicycle. They want a new raining bicycle. So there's always the last season one that is still good that you can get. In Japan, you cannot take a TV or a laptop or anything and go and throw it away. No. The day you buy it, there is an amount that has been tied to it that you have paid. It's almost like a recycling or waste deposit. When you bring it back for that you don't want it again, you must take it to a particular place where experts are going to be dismantling it remove all the useful parts from it.
So maybe the screen is still.
Exactly. They take the screen,
the panel.
they remove everything one by one. They can take the laser of the CD-ROM, they'll bring everything out one by one and package them for different manufacturing again. And you have paid for that process. In Germany, something very interesting, if you buy a bottle of Coke, if the Coke is 100 naira, there's a 20 naira that you have paid. So you pay 120. When you finish drinking the Coke, there are vending machines that you go and drop the Coke bottle into, and 20 naira will come out for you. Will you throw that in the bin? Yes. You see that money is your money. The guy who sold the Coke to you has told you that his Coke is 100 naira, but this 20 naira is if you return that plastic bottle, you will get your 20 naira. So if you like, go and throw it away. Someone else who picks it and goes to put in that vending machine will get the 20 naira for himself.
Like Coca-Cola bottle and the plastic.
All plastic bottles or cans. Or takeaways and stuff like that.
Those plastic, all these people, they are still picking it up.
That's what we're saying. Yeah. They are, but it's no longer being structured. It's not structured in such a way that everybody are involved. Think about how many people are involved in recycling right now. They are less than 0.5% of the population. But if you bring these things I'm talking about in, what will happen? More than half of the population will be involved in recycling. Guy, I will drink and keep my bottle. Nobody take it from me on the road.
I have somebody, shopper is doing that. It doesn't touch the salary at all. But it is the one in charge of the waste.
Mm-hmm.
So what it does is, every waste in the mall, it goes to the mall, picks them, or sometimes the cleaners in the mall.
Bring them for him.
There's a particular place in the ground floor.
Yes.
When they bring
start segregating
the bad waste,
yes.
they open it up, then start
segregating. Yeah. And get different buyers for them.
Whenever they come to him, they don't even take it away, they don't take it outside. When these guys come, those guys operating the compactor,
yes.
So he knows, I think he weighs them.
Yes.
Cartons separate.
Yes.
Bottles.
Yes.
Bottles separate.
It weighs them. Know how many kilos? Everyone.
It doesn't talk to I was still within this moment.
So there's so much. Do you know that the awareness is coming a little bit in Nigeria? Recycling companies have blossomed. We can talk of almost 1,000 in Lagos alone. Recycling virtually everything: metals, glass, glass bottles, glass plates, cans, aluminium, metal, nylons, PET bottles. Everything is being recycled, but it's still very unstructured. People have to go and muddle through refuse to get them out. Ideally, you, the user, should actually segregate by putting it in a separate box. I've seen some of the ones we do around here. They will put different containers right here. Now, the challenge I have is that many people go there and don't check the colors or the name on those things and drop their waste on anyone. But I was more confused when I realized that when the truck comes to receive them, he empties all 4 drums into the same truck. It makes foolishness.
Because they will kind of dump it to normal dump beside you.
That's my challenge. So why did they invest? Why did they invest in those segregated containers if a vehicle will come and mix them up again? Are those things free? They're not cheap now. They're not cheap.
And because probably those are not really recycling. That's what I'm saying. Because most there's a site along the sharing road. You go and point.
Dump it there. Now that is a problem, a big problem. The ideal thing should be to have those segregated by the individuals using it. And that's where FMs come in. You know that if FMs actually can carry everybody along with orientation and find ways to incentivize good behavior with sustainability, people will become interested. If I put these bins in your department, for example, and then I weigh and give percentage for accuracy of segregation, and I'll be putting on a leaderboard, like notice board, where I'll be announcing which department is doing better, and the winning department for the month will be entitled to an afternoon lunch from the FM department, from proceeds from proceeds that come from the recycled waste. You will see competition in that organization. Within a year, everybody will even transfer that mindset of recycling to their homes. You get what I'm saying? If there are situations where staff will even be encouraged. If you have well-segregated waste from your home, bring it to the refuse bay in the office. We will receive it. We will weigh it and record it against you as good deed for the month. And you get stars, and you will get tokens, and you will get shopping vouchers. You know, all kinds of things. Just create the right policies and the right incentives for people to start thinking sustainability. Some management can even build it into 360-degree reviews. How good are you as a staff? How can we rate your performance? We can even add some sustainability measures into performance reviews that will affect promotions and salary increases. That will change mindset completely. What about site impact? Every time a building is built, there is disruption of nature. Do we agree?
Digging to the
Just start that digging first. There are natural streams that your walls will obstruct. You know, on the ground, there are natural flows of water. There are natural paths where certain animals live underground, happily ever after until you came. There are certain habitat areas where certain types of animals like to thrive. Certain plants life, you know, flora and fauna that normally just thrive in that environment. The moment humans come, what do? We first of all clear. The effort of clearing first would displace many of the area dwellers. Birds, monkeys, rabbits will take off. What do we do next? We excavate the top surface. No, we first burn, right? Even the burn, it brings more smoke to burn down the neighborhood and drive more away. And then we'll now begin to excavate topsoil. We excavate topsoil. All of those remaining animals that live in the first 6 to 9 inches are automatically scooped up, heaped off, and dumped somewhere. And what do we do next? Filling. We begin to fill with sharp sand. We completely disrupt that ecosystem. Now, what we are trying to say is minimize the impact. How do you minimize the impact? To minimize the impact, you create vegetation in your site. You know this so-called maintenance-free development, where you have excavated, you put sharp sand, you built your concrete building, you now use interlocking tiles everywhere. No grass to cut, no pond to clear, nothing. You say, yeah, this is tight. Say, there are no vegetation. Don't worry, I'll bring some potted plants here and there. It doesn't compensate. It doesn't compensate. It's not the same thing. You've created what we call a heat island. You know how a heat island works? You know when the sun is very hot in the day, it hits the ground. If that ground is grass or water, it absorbs it, right? When it absorbs it, in the evening, you still get cool breeze in that environment. If that ground is concrete or stone, when you finish absorbing it, do you know what happens at night? It emits it slowly. It's a torture.
That's why we have hot temperature in the evening.
What do you think is happening to your air conditioning at that time? It's working extra hard to try to cool. You will not get to your 20 degrees easily. You then open your windows. Because if you open your windows, the kind of air that's going to be oozing into your apartment is that very hot. And that's what we create. So at that point, we have disrupted nature, driven away all our natural neighbors, and then we have also disrupted our own life, created discomfort and thermal. You know, thermal discomfort is a big problem for us. And then we put lights everywhere. When you put all those big security lights that are so, if this a fortress and you want maximum security, you put all this kind of 500 watts light, 20 or 50 around the building. Some of them are even pointing up to a certain signage or to some things. They obstruct natural light beyond the animals and birds that don't even live in your sight, that you have driven away already. You confuse the birds to not know what the difference between day and night is. Many people don't consider that. When you have too much light everywhere in the city at night, it just changes the natural cycle of things for nature around there. So think about site impact as well. Yeah.
And that's the water being used for waste.
Yeah.
So if like for toilets, to understand, you don't treat it and you want to use it flushing, that sometimes you emit some particles that will make
Scales and stuff.
make it more dead.
So what do? When water comes out raw, most of your irrigation can be done with raw water, isn't it? One part go for that purpose. The other part is aerated and sedimented to remove iron and some heavy metals. Most of your toilets can use this quality of water that has just been aerated and sedimented, isn't it?
Yeah.
It goes to filtration. When it's filtered, you've not added chemical yet, so you can use this one now for washing clothes, cars, whatever you want to wash, because the water is not clean, isn't it? Then you now treat it for potable drinking and cooking by adding some pH balancing and organic treatments. So the quantity of water that will actually pass through that final treatment is small. How much of it do you need? Many of us don't even know how much water we need for the various purposes we need water for. We just know that total consumption is 20,000 liters a day. We just keep using 20,000 liters a day and passing all 20,000 liters through the treatment. But even of the 20,000 liters, you've realized that because you have a massive garden, more than 80% of the water actually goes for garden irrigation. Why do you have to pass all of them through 5-stage treatment? You just know that out of the entire 20,000 liters, only 4,000 liters needs to go through that stage. And you have its own receptacle to receive it and pass it through the normal places. It's even worse in most organizations. They'll finish treating all that water and they'll be buying bottled water.
Yeah, even with some mouth. Because probably they don't trust what they are doing.
I don't get it. How do you trust what you don't see? Do you know what those bottling companies put in their sachets and in their bottles that you're drinking? How do we know what we are getting in those bottles?
And probably the new government is regulating.
We hope. That's what I'm saying now. Isn't that hope? It's hope, isn't it? Let's not go there.
There's this part inside like they probably they buy water.
Yes.
They try treating the water, before. And I think what you have just said, that if they have used probably treat some little part and they use for waste only, then what they will buy for just cooking and some other little portable things would have been better. But all they do is buy the water, both for waste and everything.
Oh, they just buy, or they don't produce any water at all again. They just buy for use. Yeah, sometimes you have dissolved solids and metals excessive in your water that is too expensive to even treat. So you just go for where, you have done your course. This is where FM comes in. FM should be as an analytical job. Somebody will say, oh, don't worry, let's drill a very deep borehole. Let's go and get an oil rig. When we get down to 500 feet, we'll get clean water. How much? 400 million. Will you spend it? Because if you compare buying water with tankers at 200,000 naira a month, how many years will you consume 400 million? You know what I'm saying? So as an FM, you need to think. You can't just say, oh, we must get our own water. No, there must be a solution. So they've done the analysis and decided that, you know what, let's be getting clean water from somewhere, and then the one who wants to drink will pass it through a small quantity of that water through a treatment for drinking. I don't buy drinking water in my house. I have never liked it. I've never done it. There's always something treating the water I drink at home. Then I can use my own eyes to see what I'm actually drinking. Exactly. I'm seeing what my raw water is. I know what the analysis of that water. I know what my clean water is. I know the process I've passed through, and I drink it with confidence. Instead of just spending money and buying something you don't have a clue. People are even pirating. They finish pirating wine and stouts and beers. They're not pirating drinking water.
Because even when you trust some brand names, you will have cloned them.
So why do you do that to yourself? So we're going to look at the triple bottom line. Businesses typically would do a consideration of, if we are successful, it means we are making money. Isn't it? If we're successful, it means we are making money. But this has long since changed. With sustainability, we are no longer looking at profits as a single point of measurement for business success. We now have to consider the planet, which is the environmental success, and people, which is what? The social success. So the triple bottom line for any business today is social, economic, and what? Environment. And then the intersection between social and economic is the one we call the equitable intersection. Economic and environment is what? Viable. And then social and environment is what? Bearable. There are some questions you need to ask yourself when you are having these considerations. Do the social benefits outweigh the cost of the initiative? If I'm trying to save money and I'm changing LEDs, changing lights to LEDs, but all of a sudden, it now looks as if people are no longer able to see well. I've saved money on my lights, but people's eyes are now going bad. Are we together? What question am I asking? If I ask the question, is this change equitable? I will consider the impact of my economic change on what? The people. Oh, let's reduce our footprint. Our office is too big. We'll cut our office by half and then pack everybody together knee to knee. Well, they find their way to their desk, they can sit down, and they cannot shift right or left. They are stuck, isn't it? And then they are doing that for 4 or 5 hours. Are they still comfortable? Are they still doing their job well? Are they still having the mental state that they are feeling a self-worth or dignity on that job? Or are they now feeling like, it looks like this job is just taking us like machines. They're packing us like sardines. At that point, you have won here and then lost here. At that point, you say it is not what? Equitable. The same thing with the environment and the economic. Can a solution be implemented with the benefits likely to be realized outweigh the costs to implement? Viable simply means that if I want to focus on environmental sustainability, will this still make commercial sense? Like I told you the example of solar. Oh, let's go solar. We produce 5 million bottles of drinks in this factory, but we're no longer using fossil fuel. We're switching to solar. Okay. How would that affect the price of our drinks? Maybe that drink is baby food, for example, that babies need to survive, and it was selling for 100 naira per bottle. Just because you are switching to solar, it's now 600 naira per bottle. Two risks. One, many people will not be able to take that nourishing drink anymore because they can't afford it. Right? And two, because many will stop, your business will also dwindle. Isn't it? You've not asked yourself whether that solution was what? Viable. Viability does that intersection between an economic desire or goal and, the environmental desire or goal and economic consideration. How?
They increase their price to 150 and bring the smaller one to 100, and they couldn't meet up with the market. They come back to the big one to 100.
kerosene is affecting kidney or something.
Oh, okay, interesting.
When you pour like conserve on the maybe a nut, something,
Yeah, yeah.
if you want to,
It goes rusted quickly.
So,
Well, that's carbon now.
patronizing.
That's carbon. That's carbon drinks. All of them does the same
I
thing.
think they just rebrand their products now.
Found a way to repackage it. Social and environment, you ask yourself, is initiative that's producing a positive effect from the environment standpoint having a negative impact on people, occupants' productivity? So this is what we call the triple bottom line. And you must keep asking questions because it's only at the point where all three conditions have been met that you can now say you are what? Sustainable. Let's go for a short break.
No, sir, is it very, very realistic? Because since there have been alternatives like to have that three.
Yes. Yes, it's just to ask the question. This is more like a feasibility triangle kind of analysis. I want to do this. How will it impact on people? You understand? Some businesses will say, oh, you know what? We need to make more profit. Let's work longer hours. Let's work 18 hours. We'll come to work at 6 in the morning and then we'll close at 12 in the night. And then, don't worry, we'll pay more. If you pay people more money to work for 18 hours a day, how long will it take before they start dying? Because they'll be getting the money, isn't it? They'll start breaking down and dying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Balance. That's just... The
balance in that would be, okay, no, we cannot do 18 hours because of the impact on. Let's go and look at the study. How was the optimal hours of work that people can take? 8 hours, 10 hours. 8 hours is ideal. 10 hours is optimal in terms of productivity, more like optimal. Provided you provide more than one break, 30 minutes or 1 hour breaks, so that people can actually have time to refresh. Some organizations actually have nap time in their 10 to 12 hour routine, where you can actually take a break and sleep for 1 hour. You're actually mandated to sleep for that 1 hour. It's also sustainability consideration that got them there. Because and then some organizations will provide you a meal, a place to exercise and shower, just to create additional refreshment that relieves tension. So by the time you are back to work, you can be back again, refreshed, fired up to produce. So those are the kind of considerations that leads, is this triple bottom line consideration that leads to such decisions. Let's provide a meal. Let's provide a treadmill. Let's provide shower. Let's provide bicycles. Are these on?
Yes.
So we're good to go. Who stepped out? Yes, Mr. Wale stepped out. Okay. Well, that's how it is. If you live close to church, you will come late. And then you will go home to have break. Even children that live close to school, that's what happens. Less fence is the school, so they will come late. And then small opportunities, they will sneak into the house, go and chop small, come back into school again. His office is just next door. So we looked at the triple bottom line. Social measures, how the facility impacts employees, suppliers, and the community at large. Consider how to involve your community. Consider your occupants. Your community involvement can be large. How we can do community security, community refuse. Okay, well, we can say CSR, but there are things we do as a community. For example, how to clean the streets, right?
So how would you guys say?
Okay, so but for some, you just being involved to do your own shit. You understand? If you are in a neighborhood where somebody must come out and join the vigilante to go in the night, you release one of your staff. You understand? To also join to represent that involvement in the community. Oh, they say, our drainage used to pass through here. water backflow. Let's create something to channel it each other way. You play your own role. Relation companies just behave as if we are the lord of this area. We are not part of the community. We'll do anything we like, you know. Some only carry their exhaust, big generator, massive exhaust, put it out on the streets, and let it blasting into the community that nobody can even breathe. In the whereas they inside their own office have put AC everywhere and locked all their windows. Those are some bad things that sustainability rejects when you are trying to operate sustainably. Occupant well-being. People are in your building. How are you taking care of their well-being, their health, their safety? Healthier environment and then safer environment. Those are the kind of things you are trying to consider under social measures. For environmental measures, you are looking at the avoidance of harm and preserving the environment and scarce resources, not to overuse resources to create waste in your operations and your facility management. Okay, so this is what we're looking at: energy, type of energy, source of energy, how to reduce your energy consumption, how to monitor your waste. Energy efficiency is a key skill for all facility managers, and it's a sustainability requirement for every FM. Reduce waste, recycle and reuse, decrease the organization's carbon footprint. This affects all of your logistics and all of your supply base. If carbon footprint can be very high, if you tell yourself that this plastic plate, the one made in Oshodi, is not good enough, is the one made in China that you prefer, it will fly 3,000 miles to get here. Every drop of crude that was used to fly that plane to carry down here is part of this particular product you have selected. So start thinking about the impacts of choosing things from far and doing things that are not sustainable. Consider your carbon footprint. Decrease eliminating hazardous materials, creating building processes that abolish toxic material. As much as possible, I tell FMs, as much as possible, reduce chemicals, exposure to chemicals. Because there is hardly any chemical that is good to be inhaled, to be absorbed into the body, hardly. So those we fumigate with sniper or something worse than sniper, and then drink malt and milk. It's self-deception. That toxic chemical destroys what it destroys. Malt and milk does not fix anything. Just add a few nutrients through your liver into your intestine. Okay? So toxic materials, avoid it as much as possible. Economic measures. Value created by the organization after deducting the cost of all input. This is where you are talking about your cost, return on investment, asset value, efficiency, long-term savings for the organization and efficiency of your operations. Sustainability must not be carried into an organization as a, okay, so it's not a do or die affair. You cannot get crashed into the organization. You must read the tempo, the mood of the organization to know what aspects and what level of sustainability to bring in. It's not every organization that is ripe for sustainability consideration. So the FM's objective, number one, is to understand the strategic value of your organization. What is the organization trying to achieve as a business? The many FMs come and, oh, they taught us this, they taught us that, therefore this is how to do it. They know how to do it. Your first job is to understand the business of your organization, what the organization is trying to achieve, what its value, what its mission is. It's when you have understood that, you now begin to say, okay, fine, let's begin to achieve what we want to achieve using sustainability principles. You cannot use sustainability to hamper the organization from achieving what it wants to achieve. Are we together? So you must understand first, okay? And then begin to have consideration, okay, how much of the organization's leadership, top management, how many of them at the top can you get to listen to things that has to do with sustainability? Some of us are already lucky. We're in organizations where people at the top are already the one criticizing us for wasting for using too much materials, for having too many workers. You know what I'm saying? So we already get a sense that the organization is already tending towards sustainability principles, because in the first place, it makes common sense. Because it adds to the bottom line. Sustainability actually improves profitability by every standard. So that is the starting point. So you don't begin to say, oh, well, this is how we do sustainability, therefore, blah, blah, blah. No. You don't cause turmoil with it. Okay? So start by deciding what metrics. What are metrics? You start by understanding your baselines. How much refuse do you actually generate? What type of refuse are they? How much lights do you consume? Electricity, for example. What are you doing with the lights? Electricity. How much waste in what categories? How much water do you consume? If you don't already, you know those 8 sustainability elements we discussed before, you must already be able to establish what your baseline is as a business. Some people will tell you, let's go and invest in recycling bins, because that's the next thing for sustainability. We have to find out that in a whole month, your total refuse that you want to use, 2 refuse bins together is less than 1 ton. Were you ready for that level of investment? It weren't. It weren't, because in the first place, you did not first measure to know, is this significant for that intervention? Sometimes they just be the simple change light bulbs from light bulbs or fluorescent tubes into LED. That may just be quick win, low hanging fruits that will give you results. So you must understand what level your organization is at that point and begin to plan based on those metrics you have gathered, what can make sense and what will not make sense. So I've talked about the low hanging fruits. Let's start with something like very obvious. All our lights combined are 3 megawatts a year, right? If we change them to LED, we reduce to 1 megawatt per year, right? That's immediately impact of 2 megawatts, isn't it? Down. How much is a megawatt of power? That's 1,000 kilowatts. No, a megawatt is 1,000,000 kilowatts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Multiply that by 2. You multiply that by how much 1 kilowatt hour is. And you now add that up and say, this is total savings we will save if we invest in LEDs or low energy consuming light bulbs. Okay, and then you cannot progress. So at the point you now begin to do LEED certification and all of those advanced calculations and stuff to progress your organization, you would have gone very far. And as you achieve everything in phase by phase, you don't crash the organization by trying to do all sustainability things at once. You take them phase by phase, you make progress, you celebrate your success, and as you go on. And then also try to ensure that everybody are carried along. I've seen FMs going to every office to go and put off lights. By yourself, every day you die. Indeed. Don't kill yourself.
Because this was actually
yes, but even then, it is still better if you find ways to engage to that level where someone in his own office will remember by himself. You know, there's something about you that will ring in my head that will make me remember that I need to put off that light before I leave.
affecting their salary.
But there's some measures. If you put it and say, our metering solutions have shown that lights or power left running after work has consumed 400,000 last year. And we now have a clear breakdown of which office consumed that 400,000 after work. We want to know who is in those offices. And might make an action based on that data. Please sit up. So if ever we are trying to beg, cajole, appeal, bring incentives, or you are trying to run policies, procedures, penalties, infractions, and all those things that can hold people to the jugular when they misbehave. But the best is to have a mix of both, where people on their own. Some people just say, you know what? Take my salary, I don't care. They still keep leaving it on. You have not saved anything.
Exactly, you have a central switch.
Exactly. Even technology can help. Even technology can help. You can on your phone, as you are leaving, check, okay, this office. There's nobody there. Switch it off. There's somebody there. Leave it. You know, just going like that.
And they create that kind of device.
Oh, yeah. There are solutions. Oh, there are solutions. Yes, you were saying something.
I think just as the mix of both, but I think more on FMs trying to get the people themselves to be sustainably conscious.
Yes.
For example, I was taking work from Delta State to Lagos, and at that time they put on a video of what waste is doing to the how human beings are being unsustainable.
Yeah.
No matter if I leave the tap running, I have that
thinking exactly.
So and to get someone conscious of this sort of thing, it could be let's have a video night where everybody sits down, just play 20 minutes game, and they go home.
Yeah. Especially if you ask them, I think you get them to on pizza to with that 20 minutes video. Because it will make more sense. If someone hungry and watching that video, they will get angry. That's a sustainability idea. Because it's not sustainable again. But the point is, that creativity must come from your understanding of the kind of people at your organization. You bring up all kinds of ideas. If you are the type that you are not innovative and you don't want to try different ideas, especially don't bring ideas and say, oh, this is my idea, let's do it. No. You start with getting people involved. There's nothing to do with sustainability is your idea that you can implement alone. And if it's your idea, and you don't make everybody joint owners of that idea will never pick up. It has failed from the onset. So engagement, starting from senior management down to a small committee. You can actually have a small ad hoc committee. Once they're getting 1 or 2 points of senior management buying into sustainability ideas, you think I go to what do you think? I'm trying to develop something, sir. Do you have any ideas I can add? You are trying to bounce it off, you are trying to suck ideas from him, you are trying to get some kind of validation of your efforts from that boss. But you cannot begin to form a small committee of insurgents. People you see are like you, they think like you in that area. Say, lunchtime, guys, let's go and eat popcorn and so and so place. Let's talk about these ideas that is in my head. You just start having that informal setup. Before long, you get ideas from more people. You are fleshing it out. It is those people that become your normal ambassadors when those ideas are beginning to roll out. So you have earned support from the top. You have earned support from key people who are influencers in the various teams. No effort that plays this side that fails. All these are the who accept what I want, they will not do it, will not do it. Exactly. Before you even bring it up, so they've also created their own semester committee, their own security guy, the accounting guy, the marketing guy, they all found one way or another to bring ideas up that would have been sold. So you cast the vision and the best of the team, you work with them to identify, things that each person can do as part of the sustainability initiative. And then they begin to break down the ideas into hierarchies, phases. We will do this first. When we now see the results, we will now celebrate it. Everybody will enjoy the output. We will now come with the next one. If you start at once, they will push back.
Making like a milestone.
Yes, it's milestone. If I want to do sustainability, I will not just wake up and put bins everywhere I will start by, with that same way we are putting our things inside, I'll start by segregating. Just get someone whose job will be after the refuse have come. Segregate and weigh. We'll use that to get to a certain point. And then we want to let you know like that. The refuse we have segregated for last month, we made 13,000 from recycling companies that came to pick it up. So we're going to use it for pizza on Friday after work. You understand? You have not only announced that a small behind the scenes activity has succeeded, they will give you an advanced incentive for what you are going to do next. Because the next time you now put 3 bins and say, this is for cans, this is for paper, this is for plastic, everybody will remember the last popcorn or pizza that the recycling money gave them after work on Friday, and they will remember to put it in the proper place. You would have sown the right seed by taking that first step, and then you move to the next step. You understand? So by the time you even get to the point where you are now beginning to install monitoring system for department to department for who left things on, you understand, and rewarding those who put things up, and shaming those nobody will fight back, because you have grown them into the concept and idea gradually, so they will not have a majority in support. The minority will be too shy to run through a negative comment against the concept that is now becoming generally accepted. Okay? So let's look at energy. We've talked a lot about this. Fossil fuels, renewable fuels, nuclear fuels. The worst in this hierarchy is this one, followed by this one, nuclear fuels. What we need to be looking forward to are what? Renewable fuels. So let's talk about a few renewable fuels. Where do we get them from? I think I mentioned solar and wind. What else? Geothermal tapping the heat from the earth, yes. We are not even the heat, the difference in temperature as the earth moves, yes. What else? We have hydro. We talked about hydro before. There is also the ocean winds. The ocean will be shaking. Isn't it? That shaking is energy continuously, can be harnessed. What else? If you plant a crop and 3 months, the crop has matured, and you can generate energy from it, and you can plant another one in 3 months, is that not renewable enough? I don't know about waste. When you put your waste to compost, and as it's composting, it's producing some nitrogenous gas, you can trap that gas and use it. Bill Gates has been carrying poo around for the last 4 years. There's a small bottle of his poo he carries around from conference to conference. And right now, 2019, he's already forming the first set of toilets. In India, there's a huge shortage of toilets. So what is he doing now? This is the new oil I'm talking to you about. He puts free toilets in communities where there are no toilets. For every free toilet, there's a gas plant. So as they are putting inside the toilet for free, cylinders are being loaded with gas that people can use to cook.
Because I've seen some pictures of people, some people are doing instead of the normal sewage.
Yes! Composting it, yes. And then they have a small vertical garden on one side of, or 2 sides of that same toilet, where the compost that comes out after you have removed the gas is used to manure vegetables that are being harvested round the clock. That's where the world is going.
That is even more cheaper than using the normal gas separating from the natural.
They actually went for the worst form of waste. This research has been taking years to come by. So when people are struggling to have enough toilets, others are saying, you know what, we need people in the day, and the toilets are all clean, fresh. They have to drink water that was treated for the waste. I'm not talking of you taking clean water to go and drink inside the toilet. I'm talking of the water that is extracted from the waste. It's clean enough to drink. See, the world's richest man is looking at sustainability to that depth. What do you think the rest of the world should be thinking of? We're all wasting time here too. We're all wasting time. So renewable energies from plant sources, even algae, notice fungi and algae, yes, they produce very quickly. right? They are now a source of, they cannot generate enough waste that people can just sleep them out and take their fluid and power motors. Those are going around taking waste oils after they fly from all the restaurants where they are doing all the McDonald's and Mr. Biggs of this world, where they are flying, and take out the oils and just go treat it in buses to run city transport.
Like what if there is actually all the bones?
Okay.
Oh
yes. Calcium. Okay. Fantastic. The world is going to that level. I mean, there's a playground where my kids used to play when we were in the UK, and we found out that the pool in that playground is always warm, even in winter. So this I will now realize that there is a crematorium next door. You know, when people die, they just burn them. They just cremate them and then give the ash to the family, you know, as their remains. So the body is a lot of oil. So just use that to keep heating up the pool. Just light it small lights. It burns very, very vibrant fire, and then the pool is always warm. Energy. All kinds of conversions are happening. That's where we should begin to think about, okay, so what should we be thinking about? One, think about the sources and go for renewable as much as possible. Two, begin to reduce your waste and use less. So we're not talking about in FM how to reduce energy consumption. You know, the more energy you use, the more should be your productivity. If I do more work, I should earn more. That's basically the rule. But because of waste, it doesn't always follow that. So my job as an FM is to improve energy performance. And to improve energy performance, I must cut away waste from my energy consumption. Okay? Improve energy performance, measure in terms of cost, absolute use, or with various energy use ratios, such as kilowatt per organizational unit. I can start measuring things that are specific. How many kilowatts per person in my office? How many kilowatts per square meter? How many kilowatts per visitor? Are you getting what I'm saying? Because I know my total kilowatts. I want to keep measuring that metric that makes it more efficient. If I know one man producing so much work, he's using so much energy, right? I can now say his energy per output, which is a division of the energy by what the output of products he produces. So I begin to monitor that particular metric to reduce the energy while increasing what the output. So the energy I'm reducing is actually the energy consumed. But my goal is to increase the number of needs. So if the total energy finally increases, the expectation is that the total energy the products produced should automatically be also very high, isn't it? But I must keep keeping the need consumption of energy per product down. That is what we call energy performance. So the goal should be to use less, more from renewable sources, more socially and environmentally responsible manner of consumption of energy, not to waste, and then begin to look at how your energy consumption and purchasing takes place. Many don't know the principle by which the utilities company is billing you for energy. You just see your bill and you go and pay. I've contested my bill once, so in my house, sir. By the time I contested it and the bill was looked into, I got credit said for 11 months in the future. 11 months. I think it must have done their billing estimated for more than 2 years or something. No, but then it was not a people, they were reading the meter. It was reading, it was only a 40 meter. You understand? The way to go into prepared, you now should have that feeling of full confidence that it is now controlled, but you need to also be careful. You must have another means of metric to show if the thing says, oh, you bought 4,000 kilowatt hours, right? And then you measured it. And then you didn't have another way of measuring to measure. And you finish it overnight. You will think you consumed it. It is possible there are some things that left it out. Faulty equipment, cabling, earthing, all kinds of means of wastage can happen. But if you don't know, you don't know. It's finished, it is what? Finished. So that's what we're talking about. Your building systems will manage their core functions so that the core building system will be effective. Core building systems have to do with your walls, your ceilings, your roof, because if they are leaking out temperature from inside, you are actually wasting energy. Your windows should be tight. They should be properly installed. They should be of the right gauge of material so that it not. If you actually touch a window from outside and it is as cold as the window is inside, you are wasting current, you are wasting power. Yes, if you touch a window outside, this is outside your house. If you touch inside, it's this temperature. And you now go outside and you now touch the window, it's still cold outside, you are wasting, because that whole surface is exposed to the heat, right? So that contact, that loss is affecting your consumption inside.
So definitely, I need to wear glasses.
Yes, you should wear glass that inside can be cold and outside should be what? Hot. If you try to do things we do here abroad, where you are spending so much to heat inside your house, you need to put double glass in their windows with a gas fuel. To make it very inert. If you do that, you are sure that the heater inside is remaining inside. If you try this idea, cabinets, windows, and core building system not being effective over there, your bill in 1 month will be more than enough to buy a car. You won't try it. So people are telling you the cost of building well, you're not think twice. Here, because we are still paying 27 naira or 29 naira per kilowatt hour, we probably don't know how to calculate the impact of building well and fixing our buildings to look tight and energy efficient. Okay? And for us, energy is almost like a hidden factor because we're not metering to the very micro level. It's almost like an iceberg. If you say your operations cost is 50 million a year, if you really drill down to that cost, 60% of that cost might just be energy. So it looks almost invisible. You really can't, we buy diesel, we pay light bill, we do this, that's what we keep saying, we use it. As if we should just keep spending it. But if you now try to ask yourself, what are we getting for every naira we spend on energy? That's where the story will start coming out. So as facility managers, concentrate on a few things. Your lighting. Make sure there's adequate light, but let the light not be the heat producing type, because that is energy wasting. When your light is producing a certain level of intensity that you need, and it's also producing heat at the same time, you are burning yourself from two angles. One, you are wasting that extra energy that's producing that heat, and the heat is causing more workload for your air conditioning. Are we together? So focus on light, and that's why the early technology and all of this new concept of lighting has come to at least help to a large extent. Then consider your building envelope. I've talked about it extensively. Your windows, your roof. Most roof that we have don't have any form of insulation. You just have the aluminum sheet, a little vacuum, and then these lousy ceilings. If you consider how much heat can still pass through this suspended ceiling from that aluminum roof into the space, you'll be surprised. If you can just do a measurement, have 2 minutes. This one duplex, this another duplex, there's a party wall in between. This one has insulation on the roof. This one does not have insulation. Put the same cooling and put meters on them. The difference will shock you. For a building that want to last for 25 years, that extra expense on insulation can be paid back in 3 years. Your air conditioning. Here, we are mostly taking care of heat. In temperate conditions, they are dealing with what? Cold, isn't it? So that's where the bulk of your energy will go into. So watch it. And then think about other equipment in your facility, your printers, fryers and cookers, kettles, water heaters. Then you leave water heater on. And the water heater will be on from today till tomorrow. What do you think is happening? It will cool down when nobody uses it for a while. It will pick again and boil back, and it will cool down again and pick again and boil back. You can do that cycle 6 times before the next day. And all you do is get there and take one bucket out of it. And leave it to go in that cycle again till the next day. If you don't actually have a circuit, the metering on that water, you don't know how much you are spending. We just put 5,000 naira in this prepared last night now. What's going on? Why is light finishing so quick? Well, that's another part of it again, because that is another issue that we need to deal with. Okay, but the raw cost becomes an issue. So do your energy audits. You document, what is this fan say is rating this again? 400 watts, 400 watts. Meter it. What is it consuming? Is it 400 watts? Is it 420? Is it 450? Compare. You do that for every of your energy consuming asset. That is what an energy audit is, nothing more than that. Between 400 and 450 watts, that extra 50 watts multiplied by the 12 hours runs every day, it's a big question. Isn't it? If I know that amount, how much a watt costs me, I can ask myself, what am I really doing with this fan? Why is it doing, if I establish why I need it, when you're doing this extra current, what is causing it? Is it a fault? Is it the age? Is it something? Should I replace it? Should I repair something in it? Those questions will be answered by my analysis of how much I'm going to save if I do something to reduce it back from 450 watts to 400 watts, because I now know the cost of what I'm doing. Okay? That's energy audit for you. So you just take actions to ensure that you can do remedial effort, because now you know what your problems are. And then some of us who use public supply, you have maximum demand. We talked about this in this class, right? Where you have in your daily use, your light consumption, which is will typically go up and come down and stay till the next day when it starts again, isn't it? This is your hours of the day. This is your hours of the day. This point here is your peak. Got that? It's your peak. That's the point where everybody in your facility, and virtually everything is working at this time. Your sewage plant will be working more because people are flushing and flushing and going to the level. Your water tank will be filling up because people are flushing and drinking and washing. The tank goes down, it fills back up. Everybody ACs are on, laptops are plugged in. That's your peak, isn't it? For most of your typical residential billing, you're actually paying for what you consume. When you consume between 6 and 7, is what's under this curve. So this is 2 kilowatts, 4 kilowatts, 6 kilowatts, right? So you will pay for 2 times 1, 1.5, whatever the formula that is, maybe another triangle. So this is the amount. So if all of the energy you consume here is 4.5 kilowatt hours, that's all you will pay for. And that's how every hour your bill will be consumed. So if at the end of the day you have 500 kilowatt hours now in your prepaid meter, by the time you run 1 hour, you see that drop by 4.5 kilowatt hour. You now have 496, 495.5, isn't it? Left. And that's said to be going down. But for those who are using maximum demand, you have your own point load from feeder pillar, or you have your own transformer. They don't build it this way. That's why you see some of those meters, you can't read it. They are the ones that will come and punch some things and tell you what your bill is. They will bill you based on your peak. So if you have a very high peak, it is the peak you are paying for throughout the day.
Yeah. For the ND.
Yes. The point loads are maximum demand. They bill you for that peak throughout the day.
Why?
Because you are a special customer. That's why they call you a point load holder. They are providing capacity for you as a special entity in that zone. If you pull your own requirements, they may not be able to serve other people. If you decide not to buy again, say for example, you come in and say, let's say your peak is 2,000 kilowatt hours, right? You know that for 2,000 kilowatt hours, they will need to add extra transformers, increase their generation capacity, just to accommodate this your heavy load requirements, which means they will invest more in infrastructure, right? If tomorrow you now wake up and say, the end has died, this company has folded up. If they have been charging you like this every day, they will not have recouped their infrastructural investment by the time they are not buying again. And they cannot scale down. They cannot scale down. They've changed their generator to a massive one. They've changed their distribution apparatus to bigger ones, right? So that's why they will stop, they make a huge loss. So to accommodate you as a massive user, they have increased. So they will have to build on this. So to help yourself, you should be watching these heights every day. As much as possible, you want to keep that peak down. To keep that peak down, you begin to practice any of this. You can do load shedding. Load shedding simply says between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, everybody are on break. And when everybody are on break, we will knock off all our central ACs, and then our consumption comes down to here. So my peak has dropped to where? To here. So my consumption will look like this. Just because I did load shedding, just knocking off my central ACs within these short hours. If I now decide that I want to do more, I want to do load shifting, I will say, don't make the water pumps automatic. If you pump in the morning, pump again in the evening, so that because I know how much liters we use every day, we will not finish 10,000 liters during the day. We'll pump full tank in the morning, I pump again what? In the evening. So I have shifted some loads that should have been happening around, maybe around here again. I've shifted it from here to where? To here. Maybe I now shift my sewage plant. I say, don't put sewage plant automatic. Process in the morning, process at night, right? I'll shift more from here, what? To here. What have I done now? What is my peak now? No. Are you getting what I'm saying? That's how to practice. Because you understand your body. When you understand your business, you cannot take any of these actions.
This load shedding.
Yes.
You said if as at that time they always
yes.
Is it very certain that that period the maximum people come?
You have to have a peak first. It is your peak you are targeting. You understand? So time before and time after, you create a range around that peak and you knock things off that you can do without. The things you can do without, that's what you're using load shedding for. You understand? Break time, go home. Or go and sleep. No work. Shut down the factory at break time. That's load shedding. We can do without it at that time. But load shedding means we cannot do without it. We're only changing the time it will run from the peak time to the peak time, or preventing it from coming on during peak time. That's load shifting. So load shedding means knock things off, and we do without those things for that time. I've been to an office, afternoon, only emergency light in the corridor. Even light was switched off, ACs were knocked off. I was like, what's going on? I said, it's break time. It's break time. Everybody has to leave here. If you want to stay, no problem, you can feel free. But we put off lights, we leave all the emergency lights. And it worked for them because that same organization encourages their staff to sleep in the afternoon. So you see some people under their table, blankets, sleeping. It sounds absurd for us that are not used to it, but those guys are highly productive people. They deliver massive amount of work. They don't have excuses if you create such sustainability standards for them. Then also consider your little issues in your facilities. So we talk about the big one, the macro ones. There are also the micro ones. Equipment left on standby. You know, you plug TV on, you use remote to put it off. There's a small light somewhere. You think, oh, it's off, it's not. Even if you just 10 or 15% of that current is consuming, the hours it will run like that accumulate into substantial energy loss. Okay? And then think about maintenance issues, undersized conductors. Use 1.5 mm wires to run your ACs, to save money on the price of cable, isn't it? But you're consuming more power. Because once this AC is put on compared to peaks, it will drag current through that cable. It starts warming up. Every time the electrical device starts warming up, you are wasting energy. You are risking fire. Many things are there that we are just ignoring. Somebody even properly sized it. But over the years, the information has degraded. You know the information on our candle, it degrades over the years. It's a chemical that wants to make this insulation now. It degrades. And then, if you were in 1967, the same cables that were installed in 1967, when you are still switching things on till now. You know, sometimes I just say we should thank God that we don't have 24 hours power. No, really. We should actually be grateful that we don't have 24 hours power because we are not ready by different standards for 24 hours power. You see mass fires.
This AC facilitator also says.
You see mass fires, not joke. Because if you go to every house today, or every office, or every business, or every building, I can tell you more than 60% of our buildings are not electrically compliant. Power them up around the clock, there'll be a problem. So that's frequent changing, the switch off. You know, if you get 5 minutes something switch off, you go and change to generator. That cooling, that 5 minutes cooling effect can carry you for another 10 hours. And nobody will know that it's just the grace of that switch off and changeover that will cool enough for us to survive not having a fire. You say, oh, this year I've been working for 25 years. Now why is it now that you are now the manager that we're not having problem? You probably came on board and you started making things run smoothly. So no more switching. Or maybe you now have an automatic system that switches in less than 30 seconds. Which means there's not enough time for it to cool again. So you start getting fired and say, oh, it's your fault. So think about it. And then dirty connections and poor connections. You use a tip to peel cable, put it together, twist it together, and put insulation tape. You electricians, you guys like insulation tape very well. Just once you have the true you are okay. Just twist together and it's ready. That's where much of the fires that comes from. How do you gain the intelligence to actually monitor your energy, to know where every kilowatt hour is being spent, to know which one is bringing value and which one is causing waste? in your system. You must have a detailed monitoring system. We used to talk about sub-routine as you meter this wing so that you know how much they are spending there, you meter that wing, you meter the whole building. Now we are talking about circuit level monitoring. What does that mean? Every circuit in your DB, you need to actually monitor one by one and have a sense of how much current is passing through them round the clock. If your air conditioners were put on by 11 in the night and put off by 4 in the morning, when you come by 8 or 9, will you know? There's no chance. So if you came and they've opened all the windows and doing cleaning, you don't even know, or maybe there was rain at night, you now thought maybe the rain that's making the room feel cold, right? You can just, you don't have a sense. When your bill comes at the end of the month, what do you do? It's expensive. Why is this bill so high? You don't know. If an equipment, a pump that pumps water up a 10 floors high rise, massive pump, was rated at 25 kilowatts when it was installed. When it starts doing 35, 40 kilowatts, they will not know. You don't know now. When you put it on, it works, isn't it? But if you take that difference in energy consumption and multiply it by the running hours, you'll be shocked how many of that pump you can buy in a year with that money. But you don't even know, so you are spending it. Without even knowing you are spending it, so it's a total bill. I don't know where the money is going to. Some of you want to do some repairs, some replacements, some obsolescence management. No, so it's your program, everything is still working. Show them the cost of it working. Because you cannot do circuit level monitoring. That's what an energy management system like Fmmc from BEST that we distribute around does for you. It helps you to just know exactly what each one. So we can compare for each equipment what is writing and what is currently consuming. For every zone, for every area, you can know totally what this area was consuming before and what's consuming now. So now ask yourself, what should we check? Is it the windows and doors? Is it the ceiling? Because if you don't know that difference, you won't start looking for what's wrong.
So, is there how can just a device probably that like one of the combinations?
Yes.
And just increase the capacity of the consumption.
Once there's a fault, it could just be the shaft, could be the bearing, could be the motor, could be anything in that pump system. Every machine wants to work. So when it has a fault, it forces itself to work. It's that person forcing itself to work that makes it to give more current, and that's the risk. And that's what we need to watch out for. And that's how some people even know that some equipment are having faults. But we know that sign. Just the energy is drawing. Just compare what his rating is to what is drawing now. You know that there's a problem. You start investigating. You don't need to put a grid somewhere, a little grids, or to change a certain bearing, or to remove certain belts. You know, when a belt is running between a motor and a propelling system to work a machine, for example, you see that little vibration that is happening there. It's losing currents, it's losing power because it's forcing itself to work. It's not steady. That extra kinetic energy that displacement is costing, you are paying for it. If you touch something that used to be 55 degrees Fahrenheit before, and now it is 90 degrees Fahrenheit, it's energy you are consuming. Many people don't just realize that energy converts itself from one form to another. If something is not extra noise, you have to do this amount of noise, 25 decibel. It's not making 1920 decibel. You are paying with another form of energy that will be converted. Every energy comes as an input from your bill. Whether you want to use that energy to move water or fluid that system was meant for, or generate sound, vibration, heat, or whatever, it's your choice. It's your choice. But at the end of the day, any extra energy used to produce other things don't add to the value. And because it wants to create a normal value, all this extra energy will not be extra drawn from the system. And that's why you see it going up. Stop that issue. Stop the noise. Stop the vibration. Stop the heat. The energy will what? Come down. Questions? There's an assessment on this one. You said? No. No, we have it in different slides like that. Yeah. All right, questions? So, who are those oil assessments? So, please indicate. How many? Third.
Okay. And last time I was in the previous class, so
No one last assessment. Okay. Please, I want to know from this online. Who are they doing assessments? Give me your numbers. Okay.
That's from Victor. Because what can we use for sub-metering? Okay,
sub-metering. You can use an energy management system like Enniscope. Victor, if you want to have a demo of Enniscope, can visit the office. Come to this office any day. I will show you what the Enniscope does. Every circuit in this office currently is metered. We'll show you on the TV. You can have it on the TV, you can have it on the phone, you can have it on the laptop. Just log into that meter and you see everything. At the trade fair. Yes, we're going to be at the trade fair from tomorrow. From tomorrow. TBS. Max-Migold will be there. So you can see a live demo of our energy efficiency solution. Saturday is a field trip, isn't it? Yes. You can do a field trip in the morning and then come to TBS in the afternoon. Who's there again?
No.
All right. I want to know how many assessments you owe. Victor, how many assessments have you not done? Just type, let me know the number of assessments you are owing. Because I want all of us to use this weekend to count our assessments. Nobody should owe assessment until Monday.
He says he's only one.
Only one. Who else is there?
Greg is there.
Greg, how many assessments do you owe?
Ife is there.
Ife, how many assessments do you owe? Ife, do you have the headphones on? You want to speak or you want to write the number? I need to get a commitment that all assessments will be cleared by this weekend though. All right, thanks everybody. Have a nice evening. Yes.
When having a new facility, coming to my university, what is the first thing that the facility to take care of? Probably meeting the people, or is it the documentation? What are the things?
I think you normally will go through an orientation, which includes meeting the people, knowing how they work, what they want to achieve, how you can help them succeed, right? And then you can now move into the documentation, because the kind of documents you are pulling out from historical data, from drawings and the rest, you now have a clear idea of what you are there to deliver, what problems you are there to solve. So you know exactly what's critical for what critical input you need in terms of documentation. So the first is to understand the business, understand the people, get a sense of what they are trying to do, and stabilize their operations as quickly as possible before you go back into document gathering and process creation. Yeah? You cannot just come, oh, we have been here for a whole month and we are still trying to get our paperwork right. Nobody has thought your impact at all. By the time you are ready, they have rejected you. And no matter what you say that time, it doesn't make sense anymore. They will turn their backs on you. Thanks, guys.
That is
Take it. So the field trip is definitely happening Saturday. Have you ever been?
The plants. So this is
This was yours on the
okay, only you handle it. Start even doing the back
Huh? Managing people is I don't want one person.